And welcome back to Kings of Influence. I am one half of your hosting team, Ray William Johnson.
Oh, and loving that applause is your other half, Epic Lloyd. I'm across the table here on Wednesdays at noon. It's the Kings of Influence podcast. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. If you're new to the cast, please subscribe. If you're old to the cast, welcome back.
Katie, did you hear that intro music or did it cut out again?
I heard the music, but then it was silent for a little while before you guys started talking.
Right, and then it cut off. Stupid intro music.
But I add it back in before we put it on SoundCloud. So
Okay.
it's fine.
All right.
It was respectful. It just shut up when we were about to talk.
Technical issues. It was respectful.
I did enjoy that applause though. That was a new nice touch.
Yeah. It's new for you, huh?
It's new for me. I hadn't heard it. Have we been doing this for a while?
No, it just went off.
Oh, that's perfect. We
Just-
should do that all the time.
Just every amazing thing you say, it's just applause and laughter.
Exactly. Standing ovation. What's the sound of a standing ovation? I guess it's just a bunch of feet on the floor.
Yeah.
I would plug the number, but we're out of our text limit for today.
Yes.
So you missed it. There's a special number you can call to get a text from us to let you know when we're about to go live, but we're full because we're so popular.
We're only allowed so many texts per month, and then we run out.
Yeah.
I guess we got to upgrade to
We
the.
can't buy more?
There's like an unlimited plan, and it's way more than we're spending now, and I just haven't gone in to look at it.
Right on. I like the idea of just saying we're sold out.
Sold out.
Sold out. Sorry. Come back next time. But if you are new to the podcast and you are on the YouTube channel, make sure you hit the little bell there so you get notifications because that'll send you a little note to let you know when we're about to go live, which is very helpful in this day and age of pile upon pile upon pile of YouTube content.
Social media garbage.
It's garbage.
Garbage.
It's garbage. How's everybody doing? How was your Halloween?
Halloween was good, man. We so Kelly and I handed out candies first time because we just bought a house last year, so it was our first time to be able to like hand out candy.
Yeah.
And we did it, and we noticed that there are a lot of adults that come to the door.
With children?
Sometimes, and sometimes not. And they have their own candy bag. And I'd say half of them were in costume and half of them weren't.
What? Where do you live?
Well, I'm not going to give you my address.
I know.
But I had never heard of this. So Kelly grew up in California. I'm like, Kelly, is this a California thing? Because when I was a kid, not only would the adults not trick or treat, but if they did, they would at least put on a costume.
I mean, yes,
Try.
this is a universal truth. It
Yeah.
should be
I don't
true.
know why an adult would go trick-or-treating without a child.
I mean, if I was homeless and I needed money, that was the first thing I would do. I mean, if you have any wherewithal about you at all and you realize there's a day of the week, a day of the year that people are handing out free stuff, that would be what I would do. Are these homeless people that are coming to the door?
No, they look like adults who lived in the surrounding neighborhood.
No children?
Sometimes they would have kids, but even when they had kids, I was still just like, why am I giving? If you're in full costume, great, you've earned it.
Sure.
It's fine. I'll let it slide. But if your kid's in costume and you're not, and you've got like your own bag, why am I giving you something that you could just go and buy yourself?
Yeah, hard pass. Hard pass. You
It's
should have an
super weird.
air horn for anybody that doesn't pass the grade.
It's funny because Kelly turned a few of them away.
Did she?
Even like kids that weren't in costume, like teenagers that were slightly aged out of trick or treating, but just didn't have a costume.
What did she say?
Yeah,
This is
She would be
awesome.
like,
someone away.
She would be like, you didn't even try. And then after those, I was like, no, just whatever, just give them candy. Just
I
give 'em a piece of
respect
candy
that,
and
though. That's
no,
awesome.
I know, but also, it's just like, dude, I don't want any confrontation over this bullshit.
Yeah.
They're losers. Just give them candy and chew them on. Shoo them away.
I'm going to take her name and change it from Red Kelly to Take No Shit Kelly.
Yeah, right. But
That's amazing.
But that's her whole thing. She wants to see the kids in the costumes.
Well, that's called trick or treating. That is
Yeah.
the idea.
Yeah,
Like,
that's why you hand out candy. That's your reward.
yeah, I can't get over that there are grown adults, no children, no costume. You're talking about like 20 years old and above? Or are you talking about like 16-year-olds?
Old enough to be older than 20. Like people our age. And
Our age?
yeah, and it looked like maybe they had kids with them and their kids were at a different place or something and they would have their own bag. It was super
They're just
weird.
like trying to cut down on time. They're like, look, the game's on. You go to that house, I'll go over here. We'll just get it all done.
Well, one or two
Yeah.
of them was like, I got a kid at home and it's real little. It's like, all right, I get it. Here you go. Or I got my kids with the mom back there in the car. All right, I get it.
Okay.
Like your kid got tired of walking and now you're trying
Yeah.
to do the good dad thing, and you can sort of tell.
Yeah.
And some of them were just like trick or treat. Like, wow, mom.
Was your house like super decked out?
It was decorated. Yeah, Kelly decorated it, put
How-
lights up and stuff.
How many
pumpkins.
people would you say came to the door in total? How many total trick or treaters?
Over 5 hours, like 100 and something maybe.
What?
Because they come in like groups of 4.
What?
And so the door is like the doorbell will constantly ring over and over and over again. Sometimes you go to the door for one group and another group is right behind it.
That's
So there was a
awesome.
lot. There was a lot of trick or treaters, which is why Kelly was excited. She's like, I'm gonna decorate the house. We're gonna hand out candy. And that was one of the first things we learned was like, there's some clingers on
Yeah.
in these groups,
We-
trying to get a little box of single serving nerds or whatever.
Right. Those are pretty good.
Is lame.
You went nerds. See, we decked the house out, and we live on like a very residential street. We got 2 trick or treaters. It was so depressing, but it was the same number as last year. We were like, "What's going on? Why is it?" There's like a elementary school up the street. There's a high school down the street. There's all these houses. People have
just don't
dogs.
trick or treat over here, huh?
Nah.
I don't know what the
We
deal
live
is.
in the burbs, man.
Maybe it's the burbs.
We live out in the burbs.
Maybe there's a safety thing about the burbs that people just do that kind of thing, and that's where you go to do it.
People go to neighborhoods where they hand out candy.
I mean, we're a layup. Like, I'm like, take all of this candy you want. You know what I mean? Especially once you're deep in and you know it's not going to be a lot. I'm like, look, kid, 2 full handfuls here, whatever
Right.
you want.
Take it
you
or
know?
I'll eat it.
And you were given like full size.
Full size Snicker bars, from time to time here and there. And like, it was just, we were going to go to a party and then we didn't. And that was a little depressing. But what was more depressing was that we only got 2 trick or treaters. And up until that point, it was none. And that was real depressing.
Well, come to our house next year and
I know.
you can make fun of them
Jeez.
and stuff when they come to the door. I mean, that's the thing. With the funny thing was, the best part about it was the not too old to be trick or treating teenagers, but like getting a little too old and not even trying and not even wearing a costume and just coming up with a bag, and Kelly being like, "No, you didn't even try." And like one kid in the group would have a costume on, and she's like, "That guy gets it."
Yes.
It was so awesome.
No shit, Kelly's not gonna put up with this.
And they're like, they're teenagers, so they're crushed
they're oh, I'm sorry.
that they didn't get your single serving Heath bar or whatever you were giving
Well,
out.
I don't want that Heath bar. Those are gross.
No, Heath bar's the best,
What
bro.
are you talking about?
Dude,
Talkie?
salty and sweet.
Ay,
Come on.
ay. No, I'm a peanutty guy, and that's it.
All right.
That's all there is.
So just to be clear, the adults not wearing costumes and going around trick or treating is not a California thing. Like that's not okay here too.
Either. Yeah. Also not okay.
No, I mean I grew up here. That's not like I've never heard of that.
When I grew up, I never once saw an adult trick or treating around the neighborhood in costume or with or without costume, ever.
We would always the adults would get dressed up and they would walk around with the kids and they would wait at the curb and the kid would go
Yeah.
knock on the door, and that's what you do. That's the correct behavior.
And if it was super cold, they would like let the car idle. They would be waiting out in the curb of the car.
Oh, we didn't get a car. We didn't get no cars.
We didn't either, but I saw like there was a lot of that happening.
Yeah,
when
we
it
did.
was super duper cold.
We went like Goonie style bike gangs.
Yeah, we did that too.
Yeah, but then you had to be careful because if you had like some sort of a cape or something, very dangerous. Very dangerous.
That'd be the highlight of the night.
Oh my God, I saw a kid dressed up as Robin. Learned very quickly he could not fly.
You trying to tell me that Robin laid an egg?
Ayo.
The Batmobile broke his wheel, and Robin laid an egg. A little
Ugh.
Christmas humor for you
There
there.
you go. We were early.
Well, I had a fun Halloween. I won a costume contest.
Sweet.
Ooh, I did see. I think I saw your Instagram costume.
Yeah, I dressed up as Jonathan Van Ness from Queer Eye.
Solid.
I don't get the reference. But
Ray is
that's
just
great.
like, what?
That's great.
I don't watch Queer Eye, bro.
He's the one with the long hair and the mustache. Who's like the most fabulous one.
The very androgynous high heels / beard / long hair / over the top positivity, which I think is cool, right?
Yeah, he
Hairdre-
just released a book. I mean, he's great.
He's
I haven't
the-
seen the show.
He's the hair lion of the Voltron that is the Queer Eye. Like he handles hair.
Yeah, he does the hair and the grooming and the self care.
He's good.
Great.
Yeah.
I still,
it's fine.
you can keep referencing it. I still don't know who it is.
Do you? I guess you also you watch Queer Eye.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Do you know they have a Japan? They're in Japan now. They have like a whole series. They did there.
Wow, good for Japan. I didn't know that they were that open to the gay community, but good for them. I mean, it does definitely seem like a show that you could franchise anywhere in the whole world. That's actually brilliant. They just find a group of but I mean, it takes a special group of people to do that. They're so positive.
Anywhere?
I mean, not anywhere. Maybe not maybe not Cuba.
Well, no, I mean it's the same.
Not
group
Saudi
of people.
Arabia.
They just
Yeah.
flew all the Fab Five to Japan and filmed their own like a new season for Netflix out there, but they like made over all Japanese people.
Less cool, but okay. Less cool. I would like it if there was like a different squad, like Green Berets,
Oh, interesting.
like the Rainbow Berets,
like the Japanese version of
Yeah.
them. Oh, interesting.
you know,
yeah.
like they have American Idol in Japan, and they have all different judges and that kind of thing. But you do have to the casting on those types of shows is you have to really, really get the right people.
Yeah.
That's as long as I've ever talked about Queer Eye for this show.
There you go. You go. I don't follow reality TV, so not my
Yeah.
jam.
Yeah. At least it's feel good. You know, that's what I like about that show. It's not like people being catty and shitting on each other and living on an island nude and like seeing how they can mess each other up and stuff. It's like these guys they make people feel really, really good about themselves, which is heartwarming, and we could probably use more of that.
So the narrative is just the transformation.
The narrative's the transformation, but it's not only the makeover, it's like mental, and like there's one guy who's like a kind of like a psychologist kind of a guy, and then there's the one guy's an interior designer, one guy is a food, one guy is like hair and like
And
appearance.
then there's a fashion guy.
Yeah, and there's a fashion guy, but like sort of marbled through the whole thing is the brain, which I think is a cool key element of like you got to feel better about yourself and like lifestyle choices and stuff like that. It's cool.
It's like your hair sucks because you suck.
It's usually, it'll usually be someone who's like either given up on themselves and like needs to get out there and start dating again, or it'll be someone who like spends all their time taking care of other people and doesn't take care of themselves.
Right.
It's always like a super heartwarming, like crying moment at the end.
Yeah, it's good.
Still not sold, but
It's
okay.
fine.
You Grinch.
No, I'm not a. I like fantasy. I'm not a fan of reality TV, which is also fantasy. But
Well, the fantasy about that show is that the makeover will last.
Yeah, I'd love to
That's the
see the.
fantasy.
Yeah, it's like where are they now?
I'm so
Right.
sorry. It's like The Biggest Loser. 3 months later, they're all back in the Cheeto factory.
oh my god.
Sorry.
Well, that's good. Good for them.
Yeah.
Gaining that weight back.
No. Well, I mean that's
Way to stick to your guns.
I know.
Okay. 86% of American youth want to be social media influencers.
We did it.
86%.
86% want to be social media influence as a job.
Yes, like professionally. So there was a study published in Bloomberg, and they surveyed Americans 13 to 38, so not even that young. And 86% of them said that they want to be like a social media influencer because it looks amazing
Fun.
to them. Yeah, and it's flexible hours, and the money is hyped up.
Yeah.
It's like those people who want to be actors, and they're like, actors are rich.
Yeah.
And if you're like, no, they're not. Like a couple of them are, but
Yeah.
there's
a very large population of blue collar working class actors that are making a living and aren't rich, and you
like
just don't know.
1% of them are rich. Even less than 1% of 1% are rich.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is crazy. But anyway, it's probably the same thing with social media influencers. And 12% of them actually considered themselves an influencer, which I think means I don't know what their definition of influencer was, but
They have a channel and they do.
or they post for certain reasons or
regular-
whatever. But yeah, that's a huge first of all, it's a huge reflection of the impact that social media influencing has had on this upcoming generation. A huge reflection.
Yeah.
Also, it's crazy to think about how when, guys like you and I started, it was hard to explain to people what we were doing.
I know what it even is, why it's even popular. You know who it wasn't hard to explain to though? 14-year-olds. It wasn't hard to explain to those kids. It was hard to explain to like your 43-year-old agent manager or like the corporate guy that wants to hire you for something. But it was never hard to understand. It was never hard to explain to like my cousins. They're like, "Oh yeah, I love YouTube. Oh yeah, I've seen your videos. It's awesome."
Yeah,
You
I
know?
just tell this joke where people used to ask me what I would do, and it was so hard to tell them. They're like, "Yeah, I make videos on the internet." I'm like, "Oh, so like adult videos?" No, just
Yes.
videos, because there just wasn't it wasn't widely known, and now it's completely different.
Sure. And I think the reason why people want to do it or want to feel like they could be a part of it so bad is because it's as opposed to like a movie star or a TV star is you don't have a TV station in your pocket like you do now in terms of you don't have the means with which to it doesn't seem real, like a real choice. You can become a social media star from any point in the
Right.
anywhere, any age, any country. All you need is a phone and everybody has a phone. So I think it's reachable and grabbable, which makes a lot of sense. You know, I mean, we should do good box, bad box on social media as a job because there are some things that I would agree with, like flexible hours. I could never, ever, ever go back to a normal job. I don't think I might be able to do it. I one time did a writer's room where we were writing a show, Epic Studios, and I like got all the writers together and we wrote every day from 11 to 8 and took an hour lunch. And I was exhausted by the end. It was like the hardest thing I've ever done. No, that's bullshit. It was just very, very like the fact that I had to be there for a set amount of time and I was like linked in for that amount of time. I'll work 8, 9, 10 hours every day, but I just don't do it in that fashion. You know what I mean? So like that's definitely a great thing about it.
Yeah, flexible hours usually comes with the trade-off of, um, how would I say, like an inconsistent income.
Yeah.
Because income in the influencing game, it's everything or it's nothing. You're
Yeah.
making a ton, and then you're making very little,
Yeah.
or what you're spending to create what you're trying to create outweighs what you're making for a period of time. So you're actually like going in the negative for a little bit.
Yeah.
So you have to like save. I mean, it's the epitome of being self-employed.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's no like salary or the security of it, just like a normal paycheck. There's no fixed income, I guess is what you should say. It's like you can't really budget. I guess you could budget, but you would have to be the lowest amount. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
lowest amount that you could like count on would be what you'd do. Also, for me, the a big negative is that voice in your head that says you're not doing enough. That constantly,
Yeah.
constantly not doing enough, not doing enough. You know, I have a cousin and he works in a prison, and I don't think he's at home wondering about how he can be a better guy working out of prison when he's at home with his kids. You know what I mean? Or like he's not like rolling around, can't fall asleep because he's like, oh, did I do enough prison stuff today? Like that's what I feel like is a negative part of this job. It's like it's very open ended and there's no the boundaries are very foggy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that "am I doing enough" thing that definitely follows you around because there's no set of rules. There's
Yeah.
no like if you do A, B, and C, then you're gonna succeed. Like typically when you go into an office job, they're like, "Here's what's expected of you, and if they throw you any curveballs, come to me and we'll figure it out," or whatever. If you work at a good place, when you're influencing and you're your own boss, it's just like fucking figure it out.
Yeah.
You can do more and it might not amount to anything, or you could do more and it could mean everything.
Yeah. I mean that's why I like working with a partner because I mean, unlike you, I don't know that I wouldn't be as effective without like I'm very reliable if I make a meeting and I'm supposed to meet somebody there and I've given somebody my word I'm going to do something, but I'm not reliable to myself. Like if I tell myself I'm gonna wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning and start working just by myself in a vacuum, I'm not that good at that. So it would be much more difficult for me to work as in this type of a job without having a partner.
Yeah, I could see that. Well, the other thing that struck me about this survey is how society sees influencers because apparently 86% of American youth want to be a social media influencer while simultaneously influencers are like hated on and it's seen as illegitimate. It's seen as kind of a joke.
I don't
Like
see.
people think people on the outside, they often they see the sort of Logan Paul antics or whatever, and they think that's what social media influencing is, and it's
Yeah.
not the spectrum that it truly, is.
I mean, I think we just live in LA where we forget that most people don't care that much about the entertainment business. Like
True.
You like everybody here knows who directed the last Fast and Furious movie, or they know this, or a lot of people sit through the credits at movies. That was the craziest thing for me when I first came to LA. People sit through the credits at the movies. What are you doing?
Only in Marvel movies where there might be a
No,
post.
no, like at regular like films and stuff. They're like,
Yeah,
who was the
I don't know
DP
about
on
that.
this? But people in real life don't. I mean, a movie is like 9 or 10 down on the list. They're like, yeah, I saw that movie. It's like it
Yeah.
doesn't make a difference to them. And again, I think because everybody has a phone now and every kid can know what's going on, they all see the same thing and they all know the same names, and it's like makes it important, you know?
Yeah, and I think the field misrepresents itself a lot. I think if you got a broad spectrum of influencing, you would look at it and go, "Oh, well, you can make millions of dollars being a douchebag on camera. I want to do that. That looks great.
I'd like to be a douchebag,
That
please.
seems easy." Because that's all they're doing. You know, it's easy
Yeah.
to look at someone else's job, deep sea fisherman, and be like, "I want to get paid to fish all
Dude,
day.
that
That's
does
great."
not look easy.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
yes.
but when you dig into the job, nothing nothing is easy.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I beat myself up over that because I come from a very, just like you, I come from a very working class background, and I beat myself up like, what are you complaining about again? Like, you have to go write rap jokes? Like, that's really what you're complaining about today? Like, there is that voice in my head all the time. But I think that's good. You know, I think you need to keep that in perspective because we do have easy jobs compared to most people's actual hard jobs. And if we don't say that, it's sort of insulting to, like, if I said that my job's as tough as my cousin who works at a prison, like, no, it's not. That's insulting
Right.
to him. You know, like, and that's what I think people don't like about social influencers sometimes is if they bitch about burnout and they bitch about this and they bitch about how hard their jobs are. It's like, man, come on. You have maybe the best job of all time.
Well, their job, the influencing jobs are if they are a strain, they're a strain mentally, and the hours are flexible but like insane.
Yeah. What's happening?
I think it's my phone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're always on unless you don't want to be.
All right, a robocall.
Hey, cool. We should answer it, RoboCop.
Yeah. Oh, I just
Yeah, I feel like real people don't even call me anymore. It's
Yeah.
just always spam.
My phone is getting smarter though. My phone, it pops up telemarketer.
right fraud
I'm like,
risk or
hell
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
Get him,
I
phone.
swear my grandma's gonna call one day. I'm gonna be like, "You're not my grandma. You're
Yeah,
trying to
right.
sell me something,
Man.
silly grandma."
Silly grandma. Well,
Well, we did it. We influenced the next generation.
got
we did
'em.
it.
We did it.
We won. I don't know if that was my goal.
I like that. I like that people tell me these days that I made them laugh when they were kids. I like that. It brings me joy, and that I feel like is a good thing. You know, like that's why I got into the business. I'm in comedy and whatever, so I like that.
Yeah, I like it when is this going off again? It is.
The telemarketer won't quit.
I like it when
I don't
they
hear anything.
Hi, it's LA.
it's vibrating.
Yeah, right.
So it's oh yeah, I like it when they tell me that you know my videos help them through a tough time
Yeah.
or whatever. That's like very incredibly satisfying for me.
That's one that I have a hard like. I am like awesome. Thanks for saying that. I have a hard time like grasping that because I I, I don't know. I have a hard time like when going through a tough time. Like if I ran into alcohol on the street, that's what I would say to them. You know, I'd be like, "Man, you got me through a lot of hard times." But I don't. But YouTube videos getting me through a hard time is something that that wouldn't be what I did.
Yeah.
But some people do.
Well, think about it like this: when you're a teenager, weren't there like albums that you can sort of look
Yes.
back on and go, "Oh my God,
Yes.
that I was in such pain.
Yeah.
I was in such pain."
It hit me right in the pain.
That gave me the feels. Like that album was my youth.
Yeah.
And it was some band that's probably
Coldplay.
shitty or
Definitely Coldplay.
or you know some like pop band that you're like embarrassed about now. Nickelback
Yeah.
really brought me through. Some people look at our videos like that.
Yeah.
I think that's easy to do when you're young and you attach yourself to entertainment and things like that.
Yeah. And
Or maybe as an adult. I don't know.
yeah, who knows? Who knows? But good. Happy to do that.
We will see. We'll see if this 6% makes it.
Yeah, right? That's such a weird number. Who's like are they just ticking a bunch of boxes? Do they only get to tick one box? Are
Well,
they ticking a bunch? Like, you could be in this, you could be in that, and like also an influencer. I'll tick. Like, why wouldn't I? Like, why not? Sure.
it's
What the hell?
probably broad. The thing is, if you went to 100 people on the street and said, "Hey, would you like to be a movie star?" I mean,
Yeah,
how many of them are going to say yes?
exactly.
Like a lot of them.
Most of them.
Yeah,
Yes, of course I would. Yes.
right.
Why not?
Sounds great. All right. Speaking of social media, Twitter back in the news again. Last week, and this kind of follows some stories that we had been talking about over the last month. Twitter has decided to ban all political ads. You
Really?
cannot run political ads on Twitter. In a complete opposition to Facebook, who
Right.
not only allows political ads but refuses to fact check them
Right.
for fear of oppressing ideas or whatever, which is a horrible idea.
What? Wow. But what about Donald Trump? Can he just say like, vote for me? I mean, isn't that a
As long
political
as it's
ad?
not a paid ad.
Right. Like, if
So,
you wait, but isn't
so you can tweet about political things. You just can't like pay to make it an ad.
Yeah, you can't run an
you
ad.
can't post a video that is lobbying for your candidate to win and why?
You absolutely can, but you can't pay for Twitter to advertise it. I didn't know Twitter had advertising.
Right. So like you can't boost the ad or whatever.
Yeah, you can't run
Which
it
is
through their
always
ad
right.
thing.
Right. Well, that's cool. I like that.
I agree. The CEO Jack Dorsey, he blasted other platforms for not doing the same. Like he basically took shots at Facebook
Get
and
him.
everyone else, because I guess I agree with him. They cheapen the platform.
It makes it something that it's not. It's no longer social. It's not a social media. It's like a now it's for hire. Now you can purchase eyeballs, which is that's different. That's like news media.
Well, yeah, and it keeps them out of the like disinformation, spreading fake news category. So now they don't
Right.
have to deal with what Facebook is dealing with right now.
They're just like, yeah, we're out.
Yeah, like we don't run ads. Whereas Facebook's like we run ads, but like we don't fact check them. That's up to the people watching. Like, hey, we kind of already went through this, buddy,
Yeah, right.
and it didn't work out in your favor. Why are we going through it again?
I mean, what other platforms could follow that? I mean, Instagram is Facebook, so like
YouTube, because they're the other ones
YouTube.
who also don't.
But see,
check.
I don't consider YouTube social media. I really don't. YouTube is
But
a
it is. If people can get subscribers and
Yeah, but you
likes
don't-
It's
and-
video driven social media.
Yeah, I just don't. I just put it in a different category. I
All right.
really like social media. I'm not talking to my friends on YouTube. I'm posting content like it's a TV network. Again, there are like communities on YouTube, but it just feels like a different animal. Maybe, yeah, maybe it is, but it's very different for me than Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It's not like scrollable and like.
No,
like
I mean
that.
it is different, but the ads. I mean, they have a lot of pre-roll ads on everything. So
Yeah, like if YouTube didn't put political ads, that would be weird for me. That would be like if TV didn't allow like political ads.
Well,
it would be weird.
The thing is, TV fact checks all that stuff. That's the difference.
Do they?
Yes.
I mean, I've seen
That-
those
yes, because
mudslinging
that-
ads on TV where it's like Hillary Clinton did bloody gotta blah. You're like, okay, well, what did you check these facts against?
That I'm not entirely sure, but if you remember when Facebook got scrutinized for allowing non-factual ads, those same ads didn't pass the smell test on TV and they didn't run them.
Right. I think that's we're at a different level now where it's like so egregious that they're like, oh my God, I can't even do this. But there's definitely been smear campaign ads on TV.
Smear campaigns are different, and they're being misleading is different, although it's a gray area, than being blatantly factually incorrect.
Yeah. Here's my solution. No black and white footage in political ads. Like if you show your opponent, you have to show them in full color. No black and white, no slow motion, and no like article text like slapped across the front. That's my solution.
And how about this? And how about no questions?
No
Because those questions kill me. Is this who you want running your country?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe. Is there something else going on between these two parties?
Right. It sounds like
Well, fuck now. Maybe now that you said it, now I don't know.
Is he healthy enough to live another 4
Right.
years?
Right.
Yeah, man. That's political ads in general have got. I mean, can you imagine how bad they used to be back in like the extra extra read all about it? Imagine how bad it used to just be awful. And the topics they were talking about, like when they're like breaking into the West, and like one guy's like, yeah, slaughter all the Indians, and the other guy's like, man, maybe not so much. These are the like things they're debating about. Of like, here's why we should slaughter people. You're like, yeah, maybe, yeah, I like my president to be a slaughterer. Those are the things they were talking about back then, and like slavery and stuff. Just a normal conversation.
Well, supposedly, the yellow journalism of the late 19th century led to the Spanish-American War.
What's
It was
yellow journalism? I
it's
forget.
it's like hyped up, sensationalized journalism based on very little fact,
Yeah,
and it led the U.S. into the Spanish-American War.
the Spanish with the Mexican American War.
Spanish-American,
Is that the same war or is it different?
different war.
Jeez, we didn't realize this. Spanish.
That's where the U.S. got control of Puerto Rico, I believe. I hope I'm not getting my things
Wow,
mixed
I
up.
probably should know this.
That
There's
was
a
that
cop.
was in the Teddy Roosevelt days.
Oh, that was Cuba and
It was Cuba.
and
Oh, it was
Panama and
okay.
stuff. Yeah, yeah, because he built that Panama Canal. Right on. That was a very short-lived war. That was not a long.
Super short,
Yeah.
but still, like that all led
That was
that
all
all
by the
led
yellow.
to the if I'm remembering my history correct, I don't have it in front of me.
So Twitter, what was the did he make a announcement, some sort of tweet about that, or did he get interviewed, or what was the tweet?
I believe it was a series of tweets, and maybe he may have done some follow-up interviews, but yeah, basically,
Because they've done it in the past. They've
well,
allowed them in the past.
yeah. And here's the crazy thing: Twitter profits, from what I read, are down 95%. Like Twitter is not doing well
How does Twitter make money?
from ads and stuff,
I
and valuation probably too.
I just don't. I don't like Twitter. I don't
Yeah, I
do
don't know.
Twitter too much. But I don't even see where do the ads pop up? Like how?
I
Where
don't
do
know, in
they?
your timeline, probably.
Yeah, just
Like
some
the
sort
same
of
way they do on Instagram, where you're just scrolling through and you see like
right.
an ad, and you're like, oh, I'm not following these. Oh, it's an ad.
I mean, and probably like because you can go on Twitter and look up the news, and you can go on Twitter and look up apps and stuff. Probably there's some payment stuff there. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think Twitter's going anywhere. Too many people, even if they don't make any money, too many people use it. Like everybody likes Twitter.
I don't know about that. I don't know if everybody likes Twitter, but apparently, 10% of all the people on Twitter do all the tweeting,
Wow.
which is probably why it's so much fighting, and they're all just
Yeah.
fighting each other.
I believe that because like I have an account, but I never tweet. I just have it so that like occasionally when someone's like, "You gotta go read this tweet," I can go read it.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I'm not into. I'm a vision. It's like I like picture books. I need pictures, man. I don't like Reddit either. It's too many words.
I don't
too
even
many
like
wo-
reading the menu. I want pictures on the menu.
I mean, either that or I'm dyslexic. One or the other. Because I can't really read that well. Like, I mean, I read, but like I have to read things like 3 and 4 times, and I never remember anything. So, like, one of those things is true. Which is so funny because most of the people in my family are so well read, and my dad will send me books, and he remembers the names of authors, and he can remember passages and all these things, and that just is like a sieve for me.
You need
So I
pictures.
need pictures.
I need pictures.
I can tell you like people's faces and stuff much better.
Well, yeah, humans are way easier to remember than like words. Or sorry, than like printed words.
Yeah, for sure. Well, good for Twitter, man. I'm interested to see how that will play out. Gosh, I wonder. That's like when Tumblr stopped letting you put nudes on it. Like they're making these social media platforms are making these stands about certain things, and it's like publications of like, all right, you're either gonna be Newsweek or Penthouse, and like, no, we're not doing that anymore. There's freedom on here, but you can't do that.
But Twitter allows a lot of nudity. I feel like that's where
Twitter
like
does.
Yeah.
But I'm
porn
saying
stars
when
are just- yeah.
Tumblr made that switch from not nudity to non, it was a big deal because a lot of people would post things on Tumblr, porn or anything in that realm, and it was a big deal. I wonder when they're gonna let you put nipples on Instagram. I mean, aren't we close?
It's owned by Facebook. I
Yeah,
don't
so-
think it's
so
ever gonna.
never.
It's just gonna keep going the other direction where
Never.
like you can't show anything.
That is so stupid.
They have to advertise on there. You can't advertise Sesame Street next to some titties.
I think that's dumb. I just think that's so dumb.
I guess they wouldn't advertise Sesame Street on there.
You can
but
have
see
a
my point.
gun. You can be on Instagram with a gun, shooting stuff with a gun. You can
Are you
show
sure?
absolutely. I subscribe to Nature is Metal, which is animals ripping each other apart, like eating each other, like violence between animals. There is like like World Star and fights and stuff like that. All
That's
that
true.
shit, and you can't have tits. That's like ridiculous.
Well, I
Free
don't
the
think
nipple,
the fight.
baby.
I don't think the fight should
Free the
be on
nipple.
there. I agree with you in that if they're gonna take the titties off, they should. The street fighting should also be off
I would.
as well, because
Yeah,
that's one is way worse than the other.
it's just crazy to me. It's just crazy to me that like they're deleting people's account because they show their nipple, and like there's a difference between like this is like pornography. We're trying to. This is like one. You could see the difference. It's very hard to like prove it in court, but like, or it's just a person's body. It doesn't make any sense to me. Well, free the nipple, baby. Free the nipple.
All right.
I'm
Speaking of
That's
about to
that's the
free
hill
this-
you're gonna die on.
I'll die on that giant.
that
Pillowy
giant
hill.
Damn it! I saw it. Well, speaking of nipples,
Stoner
yeah, the transition didn't make any sense, but here we are. All right, let's play Stoner Thoughts. Same gameplay every week where we take shower thoughts from the internet, and Lloyd and we comment on them. We sometimes take some from the audience in the chat if you want to feed us some. So let's do the first one.
Beat us.
Stoner thoughts.
Here we go. When you're a kid, you want to be an adult so you can do whatever you want. When you're an adult, you want to be a kid so you can do whatever you want.
Facts.
Yeah.
I do remember a time in my early 20s where I'm like, this is awesome. Like, I definitely appreciated that in between zone. You know what I mean? Where I was like, I think when I first turned 21 and I could go into a bar, I felt like right in the pocket. I felt because there was like adults at the bar. That was one thing I remember very clearly being like, oh, I'm in a bar and I'm hanging out with people who are my age and also people who are 30 years older than me. And that's the great divide has been like outside of a bar, you really don't ever hang out with people on that social level too much who are not in your main age group,
Sure.
So yeah, I remember being like, yeah, I made it.
Who-
This is it.
Who has it easier, adults or kids?
Kids.
Yeah, kids don't have to pay bills. They don't do anything.
I
Kids.
disagree. I think adults have it easier. I think kids, you're very helpless when you're a kid, and you just kind of have to roll with everything.
Kids are teens. Like toddlers.
I mean, I'm just painting broad strokes here.
man, you're crazy. You're crazy.
Even teens, like at teens, you're like dealing with all this shit, and you don't even know like what to do about it if you don't have the right kind of help around you and stuff.
Yeah,
Meaning,
but
like
you're free.
adult
You're free.
as a kid.
Yeah.
No, you're free as an adult.
I felt more free as a
Kid, you're told when to go to bed and all that stuff.
Not me.
Nope.
Not me.
I
Terrible.
feel like the best the best period was like in college where it's like technically you're an adult, but also like you're not expected to do much. You're just going to school,
Yeah.
So you have some of this same like childhood,
Yeah.
like not having responsibilities.
I remember the first time I got drunk on a Tuesday. It was in college. I was like, I can do this.
Right. And you know why that was so great?
'Cause I
Because
was-
you weren't a kid anymore and you could do that as an adult. That's why I think adults have it easier. They can be free to fuck up their lives, and most of them do.
Yeah, I know, but like that's the hard part because there's no one there to help you. There's no one there to guide you along as an adult. You could end up on the
That's true.
street. You don't see any homeless kids that much. You're on your own to your own devices and you know it, and that fear will follow you around like a bear.
Damn, you made it depressing. Yeah, some kids don't have help either.
That's true.
Goddamn kids.
Goddamn kids.
Stoner thoughts.
The songs "It's Raining Men" and "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor" are the same event, but from different perspectives.
I have nothing to say about that.
That's great.
That's
Hilarious.
amazing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Disgusting. Imagine actually raining men.
Yeah, that'd be awful.
It's rain. Oh my god. Oh my god. They're everywhere.
It's called a metaphor.
There's so much
Sorry.
blood.
And I imagine they would sort of explode on impact.
Yeah, they're just flesh bags. Like just
Just bursting.
yeah. Have you seen those movies where it like rains frogs or whatever? It's just like bodies slapping into the ground and
I bet they bounce.
ugh,
Okay. Too much?
ugh.
Too much?
Stoner thoughts.
When you're criticized for being short, They're really just saying the worst thing about you is that there isn't more of you.
Yeah, whatever. Go F yourself anyway.
That's like a weird thing you'd put like tell a kid that's being bullied.
Yeah.
I know, that's why it's funny.
Yeah. They wish there was just more of you.
Yeah.
I gotta come up with the perfect thing to say when someone makes a comment about my height. Like I think it's because of the age we live in where it's acceptable to be touchy about everything.
Mhm.
And that's the only thing I really have a like a hat to hang on. It's like, look, man, no one asked you to comment about how tall I am, douche. Like, what is like? Yeah, like I feel like now is the time for us to fight back about that. You know?
Oh, yeah,
Well, what do
well,
you say? Well, what do you like? What do you say?
the thing is, at least the way I have learned to understand it and accept it growing up was that when someone says that to you, you're supposed to sort of accept it and not be like, "Yeah, well, you're going through a divorce because you're shitty at relationships."
Yeah,
And that's, like, hurtful.
yeah.
"Oh, man, why you gotta go
Let's
there?"
just talking about what you are.
Yeah, I was like, "Well, one of us can control our problem and one of us can't."
Right.
So
Yeah.
so there's that.
It's still the height thing is still I think the one area where you can openly here's my thing.
Height and age are
Height and age.
'cause being
And also, like, I feel like people can make fun of you for being too skinny, but not for being too fat.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, except for you cross the line, you're like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah,
Wh-
although
why can I see your elbow bones?
body shaming women, I think, gets they jump on that now.
Yeah, I just don't make comments about
too
women's
skinny.
bodies.
Yeah, I don't
at
yeah,
all.
I'm trying to make comment about anyone's body.
But I definitely, if I see a buddy and he like looks swole, I'll be like, damn, bro, you been hitting those weights or whatever. Or if I have a really good buddy and he looks fat, I'd be like, dog, you gotta lay off those donuts.
Damn.
But I want that. You need that. You need that. You need a circle of friends that you can check you on that shit. Like if you need to brush your teeth because your breath stinks, please don't humor me about that. Just tell me right away. You know?
All right.
Um,
If you got fat, I wouldn't come on the podcast and be like, "Dude,
Josie's in the chat. She says she's fun sized.
Yeah, she is
Ah.
fun.
cheers."
She is.
Single serving airplane meal size.
Yeah, like Snickers size. You're allowed to say that about yourself, but I will say I do get a little bit protective of Josie when I see people make comments about her height and they think it's a little cute. They think it's a fun, cute thing to say, and I'm like, dude, back off, man. Like you're making you're saying something about someone that is uh, a a status move. It's basically lowering that person's
Yeah.
status by making them diminutive. And then people who are short are already, and I do the same thing. You're like, yeah, okay, great. And it is starting to irk me. But I think it's only because it's 2019 and it's okay to be a bitch about things.
Well, because everyone sort of gets irked about a thing, and then you're like, "Well, what about my thing?" And
Yeah.
you're like, "Oh, shut up."
Yeah, this is my thing, man. I got a thing.
Yeah.
I got a thing.
Shut your thing isn't a real thing.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute.
Well, I mean, the opposite is true too. I talk about my friend Gus all the time, who's like 6'11" and massive.
Mhm.
And hanging out with him is equally as like actually way more than me. Everyone, not some people or a couple people. Everyone remarks about how gigantic he is, which he handles like a big teddy bear. But I would think would get extremely tiresome as him. Like, all right, like yeah, I know I don't fit in this car. All right, I get it. Like enough. My hand's as big as a baseball glove. All right, and it's just you almost with him. It's like you almost can't help yourself by being like because it's so imposing. And I just like sort of strengthens that idea that something about people's stature is still okay to make a comment about. I don't know why. Don't know why.
Yeah, I think we're moving into that age of not making fun of people's or not commenting on people's bodies, period.
Yeah.
Unless you know them and have a specific relationship with them. You just don't do it.
Yeah.
But fucking strangers do that to me all the time. And not just about the height thing, but about all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Because they're just, they see you on camera and then they think like, well, I'm going to go up and tell a joke. I
Well,
tell you
yeah.
about that guy I was at an airport one time and I was talking to Kaja, this woman who used to work with me. We're waiting on a flight, business flight, and we're hanging out in the airport bar because we're like trying to eat really quick before we get on the flight because of our hectic schedule. And this guy comes up to me, and I can't remember what he said, but it was something along the lines of, like, what's going on, you short little bitch, or something like that. And I was
Yeah.
you're looking over your shoulder, being like, is he? Because it's a crowded place. Like, is he talking?
Right.
Did he say that to me? I don't know this person. And then he starts laughing, and it turns out he was a fan.
Yeah. I've had people do that too.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, like, how about start with your name?
Was he like negging you?
No, it's like people think people think that you're gonna think it's funny,
Right, because
to
you make
remark
jokes
about
all
your
the
height.
yeah, you make jokes all the time, so they see you and they know you, but they don't realize that they're a complete stranger
Yeah.
to you. So they feel like they know you, and they feel like, well, I'm just gonna go up and make jokes to him,
Yeah.
like we're part of a thing, and they just end up insulting you
Yeah.
without introducing themselves
Yeah.
first, without identifying that they're a fan and that, oh, I'm on your side and all this stuff. So you're just sitting there going, is there like a fight about to happen? What the fuck is going on? Why did someone just come up and insult me?
The Proud Short Man Coalition is in session right now.
That's crazy.
And I made him feel really stupid, because I don't put up with that shit. I made him feel really stupid because he said all that, and I can't remember what I remarked back, but it was something along the lines of, yeah, why don't you lead with all of that other stuff instead of just coming up and
Yeah.
throwing an insult at me? And he felt incredibly awkward. And then
Good.
he went back to his sort of military buddies, and then of course we got on the same flight,
Oh,
and he sat
no.
right behind me,
And
and
you're
I was
like, hey, can you put this in the overhead compartment for me?
and he's, yeah, right. And it was super awkward, and he didn't say a word to me the rest of the time. And I thought,
Yeah.
great, I just pissed this guy off and lost a fan because he came up and insulted me
Right.
in the middle of a fucking airport.
It's tough.
Long story, but you get the point.
I have a stoner thought from the chat. If
Go
you don't
for
mind
it.
me sharing. TJ Garcia says, takeout refers to food, romantic dating, and assassination.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Take him out.
Take them out.
Yeah, or you can take me out for dinner,
Yeah.
or you can go get takeout.
It's like the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's like all three spectrums, right? Take out food, sort of medium. Take out on a date, good.
Hmm.
Take out assassination, bad.
That could
Nice.
lead to a hell of a sort of a sitcom-esque misunderstanding. He said he wanted to take me out.
Right. She like preps for like
She's
war.
got a bullet hole in
Yeah,
her.
right.
He said he wanted to take me out.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that.
That's fun. Nice one.
That's our sitcom idea.
Stoner Thoughts.
Blood is thicker than water, but syrup is thicker than blood. Therefore, pancakes are more important than family. It's hard to argue with that.
Pancakes are more important than family.
It's hard to argue. Pancakes have never let me down.
Never.
Even
Wow.
bad pancakes.
You know what's really bad though is cold pancakes. Or cold syrup on warm pancakes.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta warm that syrup up, man. Don't
all right?
put cold. Yeah, I know. I'm ruining for you.
The-
I'm ruining
Think about the worst pancakes have ever been for you versus the worst your family has ever been for you.
it. Not even
Which
a contest.
one? Yeah, exactly.
No contest.
Exactly.
Yeah, at least you're still eating a pancake.
My pancakes never gave my dog away when I was at my grandma's house.
Yeah, exactly. Pancakes never lied and got me in trouble.
Yeah.
Got me a whooping.
Funny.
Stoner Thoughts.
Punching bags would make great hugging bags if we would just calm down for a second. You ever
Hugging
thought of that?
bag.
Have like a hugging
I
bag.
don't know. They don't have arms.
It's okay.
It's like hugging a log or a tree.
But, it's something.
Yeah.
I mean, the same could be said for punching a punching bag. Like, it's not hitting you back.
The punching bag doesn't punch back.
I must
That's-
break it.
I must break you. That's fun. Actually, yeah. Those are heavy. Those punching bags are heavy.
So are people. We should market a hugging bag
A hugging bag.
for people that like hugs back. It's got spring-loaded
Oh,
arms.
you just see people in the gym just way overweight, but just good at hugging.
Right.
Aw,
You need a hug.
yeah.
Affirmations tape.
A hugging
tape is
bag.
playing in there. Be great. $1 million ideas right here. So we got our Take Me Out sitcom
There you go. And a hugging
and a
bag.
hugging bag.
Stoner Thoughts.
The definition of getting stoned has drastically changed over the past 2,000 years.
Very true. Jesus.
Maybe in the Bible, when someone was stoned,
Uh,
they got stoned. It's like, well, they just smoked a little weed.
just threw rocks at you until you were dead.
Yeah. Imagine that. That's got to be the worst.
I mean, how cold-hearted could you be? I mean, what happens at the end? They just take one big rock and just take you out of your misery, like plop it onto your head? Or do they just keep hitting you with pebbles until you're just bleed out.
I think that they would sort of do the deed at the end to make sure that you didn't survive.
Right.
I imagine.
Maybe the stoning part was sort of like sacrificial or
Maybe it just like roughs you up a little bit.
symbolism, like the symbol of it to
I
be
think they-
publicly stoned.
Am I misinformed, or do they still do forms of that
I
in
think,
areas in the Middle East,
I
or
don't-
did
I
until
think you're
recently?
correct. I think you can get stoned to death for being gay in Jordan, maybe
Birmingham.
God.
In
In some part, in some of those countries, I do think I saw like a Vice article about it or something where it's. You want to look that up? I don't. you don't-
I'm
you-
googling.
you
Do
don't want-
people still get stoned to
Oh,
death?
you don't want to look that up.
yikes!
Yeah.
What an awful. All right. Well, while she's looking at that, we'll do a quick follow up on one of our TikTok stories.
TikTok.
Remember we talked about TikTok? I think it was last week. Oh, do you have an update, Katie?
What?
Do you have an update?
Stoning.
On
update?
stoning, yes,
Yeah.
I do. I was.
Go for it.
You saw the excitement in my
I
eyes.
did. I did.
As of 2010, stoning is still a punishment included in laws in some countries, including Saudi Arabia, Sudan, Iran, Somalia, and Yemen.
Wow.
To- Who picks the rocks?
Punishment for what?
Just like capital punishment. Like, let's see.
Stoning?
I don't know. It's hard to say. This Wikipedia article is very long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I'm not gonna
but
make
for
you read.
adultery, apparently
Yeah.
in Iran, is
I was just
something
about
that
to
could be
suggest.
But
punished by
only if
stoning.
you're a woman.
Right. I was
But
gonna.
only if
That was
you're
the
a
other
woman.
thing I was gonna say.
Probably.
Get stoned. I mean, what's the? Just walk me through this for 1 second. Like,
Okay.
what do you put the rocks on the ground, and then you grab a bunch of your friends, and hopefully they have good arms. Like,
Yeah.
to
Is it
throw a stone at somebody, like you got to throw that shit hard.
is it the townsfolk or is it
I don't know.
executioners?
Well, it could be both. Like in Iraq, 14
Rock, get it? Okay.
in 2012, there were 14 youths that were stoned to death in Baghdad, apparently as part of a militant campaign against Western-style emo fashion.
You got stoned to just for your freaking
They stoned the
jeans?
goth kids.
Yeah.
Life really is pain.
Lord, yeah. You
Oh,
got
that's a
stoned
bad
to death
joke.
for
That's a
skinny
bad
jeans,
joke.
Yeah. Wow.
Life is pain. Oh, we'll show you pain.
Right? Jeez.
God, for being. Oh my God. Horrible.
Yeah. Moving on. Moving
All
on
right.
from the
That was
depressing.
very interesting sidebar, though.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. Okay. So do you remember? I think it was last week. We said there were 2 top senators in the U.S. who were worried that TikTok might actually be a national security threat
Right.
because they collect data from kids and they're owned by a Chinese company, meaning that the Chinese government could order them to turn over that data.
Yeah.
So what Congress did was they invited they called TikTok to come in and meet with Congress, have a sort of a
Wow.
hearing about it.
Did they make a TikTok video out of it?
Ha, should have. Only 60 seconds long. Here's the funny part. TikTok refused to meet with Congress. Yeah.
God.
Just- They said they wouldn't even send a representative to testify because they just said, it's too short a notice and no thanks. And that's how much power these social media companies are getting.
They just
right
say
now.
no to the government.
They're just like, nah, we're good. Well, that's too short a notice.
Well, how long notice was it? Like,
I don't know, a week, 2 weeks, usually, these hearings.
that's disrespectful. Oh shit.
Like, couldn't even send a representative?
Yeah, that's disrespectful, man. Like, I get like public upheaval and social outrage and stuff, but like, if you start to not respect the government at all or anything at all, that is not, I don't think, a step in the right direction. Especially if you're a foreign country, like
Yeah.
we're all, like I have to imagine a large majority of their users are from the United States.
A big portion, sure.
Well,
You
and
know.
they probably have like plenty of offices here as well.
Sure. Well, they're gonna mess around and get their shit shut down.
Yeah, they probably
But
have
how do you-
offices and
how
data
do you-
centers. And
I don't even know how you do that. You got to take the app out of all the app stores that are American app stores. Then you have to convince the phone companies to not let those apps be compatible with your phones in the how do you even control an app? How do
Mm.
you control an app as a federal government? How do you control the access to an app?
I mean, there are ways. Like, we think the internet isn't really regulated, and it's totally regulated, which is why it's not impossible, but extremely difficult to find things like, certain types of pornography.
Sure, the dark web.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
By the way,
Uh,
I don't know how to get there, but
I,
apparently
I,
it's a
I I mean, I know it's possible, but it's also difficult. Because why? Because it's regulated,
yes,
right? So there are ways that they could, they go to the App Store and they say ban TikTok. They go to Google, whatever their App Store is, and they tell them the same thing. And then suddenly it's like banned, at least in the United States, maybe in other countries.
That would be something that's never, to my knowledge, been done before. I've
Well, look
never
at
heard of.
China. China bans like all social
Right.
media.
Yes, but they are the access to the internet is federal, so it's more like a utility in China, which is very different than here.
Yep.
And that's been from the start, so they're not like backpedaling. It's like they never gave that access. I'm wondering, like, how do you backpedal that here? That would be extremely difficult. Like, if there are, let's just say, 20 million users in the United States, which is probably super low, how do you get an app off of somebody's phone?
Oh, well, once you take it from, from the store, then the next time you update your phone, the app won't.
But that means
Won't
you got to
function.
work with all the phones, because it's not the app store that's making it. Once you download the app, you
Yeah, but
have it.
apps need updates and stuff.
Sure. So,
So
I mean, you
that
could
would be the way to do it.
slowly let it go that way. Or I wonder if you did like a system update to the, say, iPhone 11, and the system update was included in that. Apple was with the government, like, this doesn't work on your phone anymore if you have this zip code or whatever.
Right.
Dang.
And then, depending on how involved the Chinese government wanted to be, your other problem is the Chinese government might say, well, I mean, then it becomes sort of a trade war. It's like, well,
Right.
then we're going to ban this thing of yours.
Right. And how persuasive do the people who are using TikTok in the United States to make a living want to get? Like, if you have some, and TikTok might be one that's not the best example because it's so young.
Yeah.
But say we were having this problem, say YouTube was owned by Germany, for example.
Okay.
And you and I are YouTubers.
Okay.
How persuasive do you and I want to be to Germany and to say, you need to play ball, Broseph, because if they ban this here, I'm out of a job forever. That's cray.
Yeah, I don't know if the government would care about
I don't know that they would care either.
influencers
But
so much.
but I do think if the government was smart, they would enlist the help of the influencers. Like they connect. I mean, that they did that with us with the freaking the healthcare thing.
The Affordable Care Act,
Yeah.
right?
So that would be interesting for America to gather up their TikTok stars. Can't believe I just said those words
Ha.
together. And be like, hey, we need to have you guys help lobby the Chinese government to sit down and have this conversation with us, because you have a horse in this race. Because if they don't, this is what's going to happen. That's crazy. Social media has that effect on politics, and like, but it makes sense. It's like talking to the news outlets. We got that power, y'all.
Yeah, and I think that power's only going to get stronger as time goes on, as evidenced by TikTok refusing to show up to the congressional meeting. What Mark Zuckerberg is doing with political ads.
Right, just refusing to bend the knee.
Yeah, a way of saying, like, look, we don't need you.
I mean, they don't.
And in a way they it's like they do, but they also don't. We don't need you, and you're not going to do anything about it.
How long do you think, this is a different question, how long do you think before a political candidate uses a social media issue as a platform to run on?
Like what issue?
Let's say like free the nipple.
Is that well? Because that's you,
Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying.
Lloyd 2020. Free the nipple.
Lloyd 2020, free the nipple. No, let's say someone is very involved in the Second Amendment, wants to do away with the automatic weapons,
Okay.
and a part of their campaign is that, and part of that campaign is not allowing any kind of footage of that type of thing on social media. How far away from that do you think we are? And that's just one loose example.
Less than a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Easily.
Yeah, I think I would probably agree with that. Probably not this election, maybe not the next one, but it'll be linked to it easily within the next 16 years, 18 years.
Well, social media is a big part of elections and campaigns now.
Yeah, massive.
Huge,
Massive.
huge part. Okay.
Jeez.
So we hit our hour mark.
Hey.
So let's sign off and talk to the chat if you are ready.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you guys for listening to the podcast. It's the Kings of Influence podcast every Wednesday at noon Pacific Standard Time.
Woo.
My name's Lloyd. That's Ray. Katie's over here on the information keys. Thanks for subscribing, and like and share the video if you like it, and share it with your friends on the podcast platform. So thanks so much.
You guys, we'll see you next week.
Should we just play it off our phones?
I know, right?
Yeah.
Bum, bum, bum. Yeah, it sucks. It sucks when it does that.
Uh,
But all the other ones are fine.
yeah. You know what it wasn't today?
What? Hot?
Hot.
Yeah, it was a little
is
bit.
so
Finally,
nice.
the right temperature back here.
It's so sustainable when it's the right like heat is exhausting. Wow. Yeah. Most manufacturers is done in China, so most industries will not let a trade war happen. That's not a lie. That's Quazim Zaman says that. Yeah, I don't know why other countries can't compete with China's manufacturing costs. You know, they're so cheap, I guess, over there. Maybe they got
You don't know
crazy
why they
cheap-
can't?
I don't know why other countries couldn't compete.
Because China uses child labor.
Yeah.
I mean,
They-
that's
Why do we support that though? Like, why are we like no child labor, but we'll get our stuff from places that use child labor?
because
That's-
it's cheap. I mean, like I'm not
that's like
saying
the-
you and I do it, but it's because it's cheap.
Right,
It
but
helps
that's
the bottom
supporting.
line.
That's supporting the thing you don't support.
I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm telling you the logic behind doing it
yeah.
is like, well, if we don't get our, because I think the fear is when you run a business that big, you're afraid that if you don't use that labor, a company that does use that labor is going to undercut you.
They will.
because their bottom line is so low.
And it's like, what do you draw the line at? Say you employ 500,000 people, and this decision could potentially, like, be a do or die situation. Like, who do you take care of first? The people that you got working for you, or the people in another country? It's like, oh my God, these are real life decisions that are not simple.
Dude, they were saying the president's MAGA hats were made in China.
Of course
and
they
stuff.
were. That's
like,
crazy. That is a
like,
fact. and
everything
that
gets
is
made over there.
Crazy.
Everything is made.
The Make America Great Again hats were made in China. That says so much. Like, why didn't anybody ever just say that and like, oh yeah, well your hats are made in China. just give them an oh yeah hand palm face. Oh gosh. Joey wants to know if there's any new thoughts on the Epstein scandal. My only thought is I love these new Epstein didn't kill himself memes. They're really
no
funny
no
to
new
me.
information has come out, so it seems like
I saw a new video the other day. There was like a ABC News reporter that was on a hot mic who said that she like knew about the scandal and had a whole story about it that she was going to put out 3 years ago, and they wouldn't let her put it on ABC News.
yeah, undoubtedly that stuff probably goes on all the time where the story it seems and is credible now because it's sort of all been released, but when you're a news outlet, they pitch you 100 stories a day, and then you have an editorial process, and then you look at it and you go, this is great, but there's not enough here
Right.
to
I mean, that's fact. That may or may not be true. I don't know that lends itself to sway the argument that he didn't kill himself. You know, I do think that
No,
the coroner. There was a report. There was a coroner report that came out that suggested homicide.
right. So the guy or the people who actually did the autopsy, cut open the body, they ruled it a suicide by hanging. They were the first ones to come out. Later, a second guy who does like I don't want to call them secondhand autopsies, but he looks at the autopsy notes and that kind of stuff. And so he's like a celebrity kind of guy. He looked at, the OJ trial and the JFK assassination trial. And he said, OJ didn't do it. He said JFK was the CIA was in. So he leans sort of conspiracy theory.
Right.
So he looked at it and then he went public and was like, what did he say? That the wounds were more consistent with homicide than they are with suicide
Right.
or whatever.
Right.
He's not the guy who actually did the autopsy. He is a like celebrity medical
Right. So
examiner.
he's sort of like
He had a TV show for a
yeah.
while.
That
It's-
immediately now you're
right.
a different thing.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Dr. Michael Baden.
Yeah, I think he had
Yeah.
a TV show on HBO for a while because he does like celebrity autopsies, but he does them like after the fact,
Yeah.
just based on the notes. Now, what he's saying about the wounds being more consistent with homicide than with suicide is technically true, with the exception that Epstein was 67 years old, and in his age, because there were certain bones broken that get broken during strangulation and sometimes during a hanging.
And if you're older,
And if you're
more
older,
often,
they're
yeah.
more likely to break.
Right,
And he
right,
was
right.
67, so
Right.
it was kind of one of those things.
I just like the memes that are out.
The,
They're really
the
funny.
memes are funny. I mean, I
Yeah,
still
what were
go
you
with
saying, like the evolution thing.
Yeah, it was like humans came down from trees 20 million years ago and created opposable thumbs, and through the course of eating vegetables and cultivating farms became community animals, and then 2 million years later learned to rake, and all of this was 3 million years before Epstein didn't kill himself.
I've seen stuff like that.
Or something
It's
like
funny.
that. Someone said I'm going to start to call abortions Epstein's. That's funny. Are you guys going to live to be live the day before Thanksgiving? Oh no, that's
Oh
good
no,
to tell people.
we're taking off. We're taking off Thanksgiving this year.
Yeah, we're going to
Be
take
with
it
our
off
fams.
to be with the family. So you guys do the same. Why do we support them? Has China made computer and screens in the background? Fair enough. Do what I say, not what I do. All right?
Well,
what I say
if
or
you
not what I do.
avoid buying stuff that's made in China, you would have zero
I'll be on the streets.
electronics and maybe zero like possessions. Period. So it's unrealistic.
I'm not the fish you need to catch. Hazaki. Hayazaki. What is that? Say?
Hayasaki, man,
Hayasakite?
I'm gonna.
Or oh no, high as a kite. Heh.
Oh boy.
I
Good
like
one.
Hayasakite.
That's Hayazakite.
Hayasakite.
My name is
Hayasakite.
Sensei Hayazakite.
Hayasakite.
I still like that accent, man. I know it's not the best socially, but I still like to use it from time to time.
What the
Just the Mr. Miyagi accent.
fake Asian accent?
Mr.
Oh,
Miyagi
that's so
accent.
terrible.
I know. It brings me joy.
As long as you hilariously switch the R's and the L's and put emphasis on it,
Yeah.
then I think you're fine and totally not offensive.
As long as I can also do a Southern hick accent in the same breath, I'm good. Has anyone seen your T-shirt today? I don't think people understand the depth of your T-shirt.
Oh, the
pretty fresh.
original Star Trek,
Original Star Trek.
original series. Yeah, people don't. You kids don't appreciate the original
awesome.
Star Trek.
Bones. Oh.
Bones, my favorite.
Bones.
I like Bones in the reboots.
Yeah, he's good. The reboots are good. I really like Chris
Carl Urban.
Pine's Captain Kirk as well. He's really good.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Carl Urban, and
Yeah.
the diversity of his acting,
Yeah.
at least from what I can see.
Yeah.
And then I thought Zachary Quinto did great as Spock in the new
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah, the whole cast is great.
Made a really good Spock.
Good stuff. What's up? Well, seems like things are slowing down, so maybe we'll sign off for today and
All right.
chill out for a while. Thank you guys for joining us. We're always here on Wednesdays. So we'll see you next Wednesday.
See you guys.